Artificial intelligence is pretty fascinating, guys. And I asked it a bunch of questions about the Mountaineers' upcoming season, and it gave me some really fascinating answers. And also, Ren Baker said, the backyard brawl ain't over till it's over, baby. We might have that coming up too.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And what is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host, and this is Locked On West Virginia, baby. We're back for the second time today just to talk a little football, have some fun, because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about, and I appreciate you all for being here. This episode of Locked On, West Virginia, going to be brought to you by FanDuel, and right now with FanDuel, they're doing it pretty big. If you didn't know, now you do. Now you do. Right around the corner, football season, and FanDuel's app is what you got to download. Go there and start planning your future bets now. This episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by Mountaineer Paul as well, as he's going to be taking a sideline today for artificial intelligence. I asked artificial intelligence to predict some things about West Virginia's season. I give it very few prompts. I gave it very few ideas. I just let it do its thing. All I made sure was that it was updated with the current roster, because it was spitting out like some of last year's players in the beginning, and I had to give it a couple prompts. But I just wanted to see what it would say, and it's actually very entertaining. I was surprised with what it shot back at me. So that's what we're going to go over. I think I asked it for 20 things, so we'll do that. In the second segment, we're going to talk about the backyard brawl possibly going past this year, because obviously now that the SEC has added a ninth conference game, that's on the docket. Now, it could just be any other Power 5 game beyond this year, besides Alabama, right? But we do expect that game to probably get the axe. At least that's the early inclination I'm getting. So let's jump straight into this, man. And then if we have time, we'll probably get to some other stuff, just some football things. Like, we haven't talked much about tight ends. We haven't talked much about a couple position groupings. So we'll definitely check that out too. All right, so I asked the AI for 20 bold predictions for the 2025 Mountaineers. I'm just going to share the screen with you so you guys can watch too. That way you can read along with me. Just don't jump too far ahead. So number one is Nico Markiel starts week 1 and throws for 3,200 yards, earning all Big 12 honors. The Chandler as Arizona native harnesses his 2024 experience to thrive in Rodriguez's spread offense, cementing his quarterback one status. Now, that would be one heck of a year for Nico if he did that. That would be a shocker. Not a shocker, just 3,200 yards. That's a pretty good year. I mean, I think he can do it. It's just, if he's going to have another 800 on the ground or something like we expect, you're talking about one of the best players in the Big 12 if he does that. So Jalen Henderson comes off the bench to spark a 21-point comeback against Pitt in the backyard brawl. Now, that would be a wild one there. Just a crazy, crazy prediction. Henderson's dual threat ability, 509 rushing yards at Fresno State, flips the September 13th, 2025 rivalry game with a clutch running touchdown. That would be awesome too. Wouldn't mind seeing that. Now, that would mean Nico would go down, I guess, or maybe he'd just go down for that game, because it says beyond that, Markiel goals interception three in three straight games, including a road win at Arizona State, having improved decision-making, 55.8 completion percentage in 2024. And we needed to talk about that more. Shuts down critics in October, proving he's the guy. Number 4, Rodriguez rotates Henderson for a trick play touchdown pass against TCU, stunning the Big 12. Henderson's arm delivers a surprise 50-yard bomb in October 4th opener, showcasing Rodriguez's bold play calling. See what I mean? Some of these are kind of fun, that would be interesting too. The AI really likes Henderson a lot. And another one of the ones I had it do, it picked him as the starter. And I was like, I don't know, Mr. AI. But I just let it do what it wanted to do. So that's what it's doing here. Running back and offensive firepower is what it has here. I haven't read these yet. I only read the first like 4 or 5, and I was like, okay, this will work. So if there's any mistakes, I guess we'll find out together. Running back and offensive firepower, Jaheim White explodes for 2,000 rushing yards, landing on the Heisman Trophy short list. Good God. The junior who had 900 yards in 2023 and 2024 dominates in Rodriguez's run-heavy scheme, becoming a national sensation. Man, that would be this AI is getting me fired up. I ain't going to go lie. What a crazy thing that would be. Oh man, I don't know. 2,000 is a little bit too rich for my blood. Give me 1,500, give me 14 somewhere in there, and I would believe it. 12, 13, like even Steve Slayton is one of the best rushing seasons ever at 1,800. If he gets to 2,000, that'd be wild. That means we probably had a 9-win season if he gets to that. Ty Edwards bulldozes for 5 goal line touchdowns against Ohio, earning the Mountaineer Mauler chance. What the hell? The Northern Iowa transfer, 6'2", 228, owns short yardage situations in the week 2 trap game. I'll tell you what, AI has done its due diligence on some of these, huh? Dior Hubbard, redshirt freshman, rips off 80-yard touchdown against UCF, stealing the show. The Gahanna, Ohio recruit shocks Rodriguez's old team. And they see there it made a mistake on November 1st, 2025 with a breakout carry. So it's probably getting Rich Rod confused with, I'm guessing, the only thing I can figure out is what is it thinking there? Anyway, we'll just move on from it. Probably thinking maybe Rich Rod Scott Frost. The only thing I can figure out. Wide receivers in passing game. Rodney Gallagher hauls in a 70 catches and 300-yard games, becoming West Virginia's new star. Now, this is like if life is just perfect, right? Morgantown. Like if you know what I mean? Like if all 3 of those things happen, we are in the playoff for sure. That's crazy. He's got an EA rating of 86. I forgot about that. Jaden Bray scores a diving game-sealing touchdown against Houston, cementing his clutch reputation. The Oklahoma State transfer, 6'2", 205, shines in a tight November 15th, 2025 win. Cam Vaughn snags a one-handed 45-yard touchdown against Arizona State, landing on SportsCenter top 10. Offensive line in the trenches. Kimo Makaniole shuts out Pitt's pass rush, allowing 0 sacks in the backyard brawl upset. Pretty cool. Says he anchors the line, paving the way for September 13th victory. Xavier Bosley leads a 300-yard team rushing day against Robert Morris in the opener. The Dunbar, West Virginia's natives run blocking dominance crushes the FCS foe on August 30th, 2025. Now, I do think that's possible. Maybe not 300 yards, but because they're going to be playing 7 or 8 guys, Xavier will definitely get in that game. And maybe he gets hot, and they leave him in there. Defensive standouts. Reed Carrico racks up 130 tackles and earning the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year buzz. That would be wild. That would be a shocker there for sure. He's capable, but that would be probably Chase Wilson, with the position he's in the defense. But hey, look at this. Ben Bogle smashes the WV sack record with 14. Hey, man, this would make me happier than hell if that happened. Asani Redwood forces a game-changing strip sack against Ohio, saving a trap game upset. That's crazy. Gosh, here I'll go with the yawns again out of nowhere. Secondary and special teams. Fred Perry picks off 3 passes against Arizona State, sparking a road upset in Tempe. That's pretty funny. Cade Hensley boots a 55-yard field goal, walk-off to stun Baylor and Morgantown. We'll be going undefeated. Big picture and rivalry predictions. West Virginia shocks Pitt, 42-35 in the backyard brawl, restarting a 5-year win streak. That would be awesome. Take that for sure. The Mountaineers hit bowl eligibility by week 9, spitting in the face of Phil Steele's space prediction. Oh, God, we had Phil on the show. With 71 newcomers, including 52 transfers, West Virginia, I don't know where this is coming from. West Virginia defies doubters with the 6-2 start by late October. And the last one is West Virginia pulls off a top 25 road upset against TCU, with Markio outdueling their quarterback in 45 to 42 shootout. Rodriguez's offense explodes on October 4th, proving the Mountaineers are Big 12 contenders. Wow, what a pretty crazy one, you know. What a pretty crazy predictions there. That was fun for something just to kind of to kind of switch it up a little bit. Artificial intelligence can be scary, but as I tell people all the time, this thing just confused Scott Frost for Rich Rodriguez. You know, so it's like it's not that smart yet. Now maybe there are versions of it that it is, but I don't feel like AI is ready to take over the world or nothing yet. Hey, what's up, Shaq? Appreciate you for being here. Thanks, John. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Coop. Thanks everybody for being here for the live. My X is still down. The X account is still down, so hundreds and hundreds of people aren't getting to see this. But like I say, it's all not a big deal. I'm thinking about moving away from X anyway. All right, let's go to break. On the other side of the break, what we're going to do is kind of get a little more serious. Rim Baker had a press conference today where he addressed the future of the backyard brawl. I think it's interesting. We'll talk about it because could we be playing the Panthers beyond this year now instead of what we thought, which was possibly a hiatus? Well, Alabama series is in jeopardy now that the SEC's at 9 games. We talk about that next. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by FanDuel. And we're talking about FanDuel on this one, y'all, because of several reasons. August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling for your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week 1, even kicks off. This is your moment. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets now because Futures Day is only one day and one day only. You want to do it at FanDuel today where you can play your game. It's segment 2. Let's crack a do before I fall asleep here, guys. Apparently, I don't know. I'm not that tired. I feel fine. I think every now and again, I just get the yawns. I take a lot of different medicines. And I think a couple of the medications that I take make me yawn. So it's like a side effect. This has happened once before where I got the yawns for an entire episode. This is kind of weird. Appreciate you guys for being here, man. Yeah, John, it's Mountain Dew time. All right. Obviously, the SEC schedule change is going on. Starting in 2026, the SEC will implement a 9-game conference schedule, which means 3 permanent rivals and 6 rotating opponents. In response to college football playoffs' updated strength of schedule formula, which rewards quality wins and reduces penalties for losses against strong opponents. They're moving a little bit further towards maybe the basketball model, huh? So the West Virginia-Alabama series was signed in 2019, where West Virginia and Alabama were scheduled for a home-and-home series in 2026 and 2027. The SEC's change threatens this due to Alabama's increased scheduling demands. There is no buyout clause, which is because they foresaw this could come in the future. So the clause includes acknowledging the volatility of college football scheduling, and if conference rules like this SEC 9-game mandate prevent the games from happening, then there's no buyout. So West Virginia won't get the buyout. So kind of unfortunate. And both parties did agree to discuss rescheduling in good faith. So it's, that's kind of a bad thing, but at the end of the day, I mean, you're not going to get the payday, which sucks. But 2026, Alabama plays at West Virginia, hosts South Florida and Florida State, with room for an FCS opponent. This is Alabama's constraints. A 9-game SEC schedule with potentially 5 road games could prompt Alabama to drop West Virginia to ease travel demands. In 2027, Alabama, hosts West Virginia and then plays Ohio State with 9 SEC games. Alabama may prefer a less demanding schedule from a non-conference opponent, like an FCS team most likely. Alabama's history of scheduling 2 Power 4 non-con, like Notre Dame or Oklahoma State's doing in future years, suggests they might retain Florida State or Ohio State over West Virginia, or maybe they drop Ohio State. I doubt that, but maybe they do. From West Virginia's perspective, obviously, Rim Baker has emphasized stabilizing the non-conference schedule, and I got a quote from him here. It says, "We don't want any instability in our non-conference schedule, so I think it would be really important for us to try to solidify that sooner rather than later." Obviously, you know, Neil Brown mentioned it last year, right? We got Alabama. That ain't fixed. Prioritizing, he wanted to prioritize regional rivalries like Pitt. So I think West Virginia is aiming for 10 Power Four games and then annually and then 9 Big 12 and 1 non-conference game to balance college football competitiveness. So that's probably a little closer to what they're going to try to do, right? That doesn't make sense, does it? 10 Power Four games. Is that correct? I guess it is. Yeah, I guess it is. So the rescheduling challenges is what makes this a little weird for me, because our non-conference schedule is booked through 2030 with games against Pitt, 25, and then we got them in 29 and then 32. We got Virginia in a neutral site game in 2026, which I know Rim Baker wants to keep. And the thing is, I mean, even though they're not great at football, I do think Virginia does stand to benefit the region if we could get something going with them. It would be nice if they were good in 20 when we played them, at least like fringe ranked or something like that. Like that would be cool. Like, because who wants to play a bad Virginia team? Like, I want them to be a barometer game for us, like Pitt's going to be this year. Like, I don't know how many of y'all are expecting Pitt to be bad this year, because they lost some games to end last year. They were beat to hell after the first 7 games. I think they're closer to what they were in the first 7. Guys, I'm really sorry about this. This medication. I knew I should have took it at a later time rather than like an hour before the show, but I just didn't think about it. So, Alabama has 4 power games scheduled through 2035, with Virginia Tech leaving in 2035, 2036, 2037 are potential rescheduling with Alabama years, just to put that on the shelf for later, but it conflicts with West Virginia's preference to avoid 2 Power 4 games, right? So it's kind of gets tricky down the line, and by the time 2036, 2037 gets here, football probably ain't even going to look like it does now anyway. So I don't even like to look that far ahead. There's no buyout, but the impact on West Virginia is you're losing Alabama and you're getting no money for it. So the series means no marquee matchup to boost West Virginia's resume in the college football playoff that specific year, and no ticket sales, no visibility, and it avoids probably a high-risk loss, right? I mean, West Virginia is going to lose that game 8 out of 10 times if both teams are historically what they are. But with Rich Rod back, that changes some things. I will say that, because we beat them kind of teams under him before. So, I don't know. You start to look at it, you think, well, maybe not. Cancellation could free up the 26-27 slots for more winnable opponents, which is what Rim Baker was talking about for the strategy of 1 Power 4 playoff game, one Power 4 non-conference game, not playoff game. If we reschedule that, West Virginia faces a ton of logistical hurdles and potential conflicts with Pitt games, because Pitt has a ton of stuff going on. The backyard brawl obviously scheduled for this year, 2025 in Morgantown, and 29 through 32, but 26, 27, 28, that's a gap. 26, 27, 28. West Virginia and Pitt are both motivated to continue the rivalry if it's possible. So obviously Neil Brown, when he was here, supported the hell out of it and said it's a series that needs to be played. I know it makes sense for us to play the game. That's a quote. Rim Baker has contacted Alan Green, the AD over at Pitt, to explore scheduling options for 26 and beyond. We'll have to see what happens with it. Obviously, I think that there is willingness, but at the we only can really know for sure beyond our front doors what people want to do. And if we will take him to the woodshed this year and Rich Rod's back, do you really think Pitt? I mean, they're already making excuses for their fans not to travel up to Morgantown. You want to jump into this conversation real quick because I can start to make a case. But Rich Rodriguez is back. If we shallywhack him up here this year in Morgantown, they're not going to want to replay this game. I think this is something a lot of people ain't looking at. I mean, you can look at me like I'm crazy if you want to. Like, it would seem like it's obvious. Oh, like, yeah, duh. Of course they want to do that. No, I think they might be scared of Rich Rod because they're already making excuses about why they can't even travel down to the game. Get out of here. We got a break. On the other side, let's talk about something fun, man. How about this roster, baby? We'll talk about it next. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by Rugiet, guys. And don't you make any off-color jokes in the chat, John. But you probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rugiet Ready. Rugiet Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. Unlike the usual pills that can take hours, Rugiet's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue and kicks in fast, giving you a hard edge, on average in 15 minutes. Effects can last up to 36 hours, so you can stay competent and in control when the moment is right. That's right, guys. I love that it's completely online because Rugiet connects you with a board-certified doctor and ships your treatment discreetly to your door. Head to rugiet.com/lockedoncollege and use code LockedOnCollege to get 15% off today. That's rugiet.com/lockedoncollege. Use promo code LockedOnCollege for 15% off. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. Please visit the Rugiet website for full safety information. All right, guys, we're back here in Locked On West Virginia in segment 3. That's right. I figured somebody'd make a hard edge joke eventually, so I decided to do it. What do you guys want to talk about here, man? I'll tell you what. Somebody played a clip of that Grayson Barnes catch earlier, and I got a little fired up watching that. Obviously, if he can turn into, like I said, what Cole Taylor's has been pretty good. We were lucky with Cole Taylor the last few years. Unfortunately, we just didn't throw it a bunch because of the roster that we had. That said, Cole Taylor, pretty good start, right? And then I think Grayson Barnes is an absolutely good replacement for Cole. I think they're comparable players, similarly talented. Cole a bit bigger, by a couple inches and longer. Love to have Cole back, but I think both of these dudes are good players. And I could see a world where Grayson Barnes catches 30, 40 balls, absolutely, if things go right for him and we are more of a passing offense, which is kind of something we kind of heard about a little, right? So there are some things that are interesting regarding this, but what I'll say is at the end of the day, I'm a big fan of the tight end position in this offense. I think it takes it to another level. I think it takes Rich Rodriguez to another level as a play caller. And anytime he's got elite tight end play, it really opens this thing up, especially down the seams where his offense hasn't typically gone often. At least the last time he was here, we were on the edges, right? We were throwing bubbles to Darius Raynaud. We were throwing reverses to Jock Sanders. We were, throwing screens to him or what have you. And we had Daryl Jala, and we had guys that could go deep. But we have guys that can control the middle of the field and the seams, minus a couple guys that have been here in the past. Chris Henry, obviously, and others could do that. But, generally speaking, I think we do need a tight end that can hit the seams along with, obviously he's not the only one. But I got to be honest, guys, I hate to even be negative before the season starts because I could be totally wrong. It could be just something they're hiding. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they were doing. I mean, you've got a few pieces there that I'm certainly absolutely excited about beyond Grayson Barnes. Jacob Barrick's a great blocking tight end, but Greg Genross is a guy that he's a redshirt senior. It's now or never. He was here last year was his first year here, and then they changed offenses. So, he's a guy that you look at and say, can he perform at an elite level for West Virginia. 6'6", 228 pounds, Dodge City Community College guy, and he's got a ton of um, not experience, but talent. I mean, that's what we've heard over and over about this guy, right? He's one of the wild cards to the West Virginia football season. I truly believe that. I truly believe that. If you go to his X page, which I don't know if it'll take you with me, it did not. Let's go over to his X page really quick. We haven't checked him out any at all this year, and oops, when you look at Genros, man, he's a stud, dude. Like there's a highlight tape of him doing stuff. Here, this is at Dodge City Community College, I do believe. So try to blow this thing up as big as it possibly can be. That's not very big, y'all. But we'll try to play a couple balls here. I mean, that's got to be him right there, right? Yeah. I mean, it wasn't him. I picked the wrong guy. So this is him in the up. I mean, you see him run down the field. It's ridiculous how explosive and talented he is. I just don't know. I mean, if he can just get it, he's still got the ability to be so good for us. I just don't know why we haven't heard more about him. But I would love for there to be a world in where he gets a ton of experience this year. Here he's lined up in the backfield. I mean, he's got so much ability as a pass catcher. Really hoping he does well. I mean, here he is on an out pattern. You can see just how athletic he is. He's a guy, man, that if he gets it, I mean, Grayson Barnes, I'm sorry, but you lose your job. This dude's literally a mountain. He's a mountain of a person. And I love Grayson Barnes. Like, I think Grayson Barnes he's not just talented, he's extremely talented. Well, here's a better video. Yeah, here's a better video with him. 6'7", 230 is what it says here. But I mean, look at the speed and watch this guy run right here. Big, lanky, but man, can he run. That's the same play. Yeah. Okay, so we got that play. We've got, I'm assuming, trying to figure out what's going on here. Oh, so he was in a different color uniform. That threw me off. I haven't seen, I mean, you see there, he's got some speed to get down the field on. Here he is in the backfield leaking out. Nice catch. And then you see he outruns pretty much everybody to the end zone or close to it. Pretty impressive. I mean, here he's in the backfield. I could absolutely see him in West Virginia's offense like this. No doubt. Him and Grayson Barnes both. I could see them both doing this. Right here he is. And he runs good routes, man. I haven't studied too much of this tape, to be honest, because he's been at West Virginia for so long now. Yeah, man, this guy here, I would like to see. I would love to know why. There has to be because it's not talent. Like it's not talent. There has to be another reason if he doesn't end up starting this year. He's so talented, man. Be looking for Genros, however it's pronounced, to produce this year. If he can. Oh, it wasn't playing it? Sorry, y'all. I don't know why it didn't play at that time. But with Genros here, you can see him running down the sidelines. If he could just produce at an elite level, man, it would be so great for us. I love this whole play right here. Like, I could totally see him doing this with Rich Rod, right? Like, this is exactly the kind of set you're going to see with Rich Rod. You got 3 wide, and you got a tight end that's lined up as an H-back. And I could totally see him doing this. Watch how good of a route he runs out of the backfield here. It's a really nice route. A little nice, quick route. And then look at the catch radius. I think this is the biggest thing. Like, you don't even have to be that accurate. He's going to get it easily. Now, I would like him to be a little bit stronger, run over cats, but I mean, you can't have it all. He's a deer, though. He can run. He can run routes. He runs crisp routes, as you can see there. Another crisp route, tough to take down. Yeah, there's a lot to like about him, man. I think it's if just capital if we could get this guy to produce for us, we'd be so lucky. Because I think he's one of those ones that's like, what are some X factors they're going to take for West Virginia to be better than 5 or 6 wins this year? It's a fair question to ask. Because I think if you look at us, that's where most people have us, right? So we're gonna look at the record or the schedule here in a second because I've been kind of wanting to wait on my official record prediction until camp is over. Now it's over, and I think I've got an idea for how I feel about this team. So um, we're going to do that too. But let's get back to this here, the roster. So Ryan Ward's another one that I think can produce. He's not quite as athletic as the other two, but certainly I think he can grow into something like that. You guys already know I'm a big Oron Singleton guy. I think he's going to be one of the leaders on the offense. I think you'll look up this year and he'll have 50 balls for 600 or 700 yards. I do believe that. Cam Vaughn's 1,000-yard plus guy, I think. I do think he's going to do that as long as he stays healthy. Cam Vaughn might be the most talented receiver we've had in Morgantown. When's the last time? Maybe Winston Wright since then. He's a much different receiver than Winston Wright, but I'm saying like as far as like a guy that you're scared of, Winston Wright people were scared of him, right? I mean, what did he do? 70, 75 or 80 balls for us, maybe even more. Maybe he caught 100. I can't even remember, but Winston Wright Jr. had a big year for us that one year. Which is why he went to Florida State. But, I think Cam Vaughn is similarly talented. And I think Oron Singleton is right there with an Ollie Jennings or Winston Wright Jr. Like I do believe Oron Singleton is in that category. Jaden Bray is, if he comes into his own, those are three bona fide number one and number two receiver. I think Cam Vaughn's a number one receiver, and I think Jaden Bray could be a number one receiver. Cam Vaughn's a slot guy. Very rarely are they your number one receiver. But I do think he could be a go-to guy, big playmaker. He's a guy that you're going to get huge chunks of yards from. And we haven't even gotten to anybody else yet. Justin Smith-Brown, another guy that they love, that runs 4.4, right? We've looked at the numbers. He runs 4.4. Christian Hamilton comes over from North Carolina, where all he did was caught deep balls. He had 7 catches at North Carolina last year. They were all deep balls, 20 yards a catch. So he's a guy that gets downfield. And then Logan Ramper, who we haven't watched tape on in forever, which kind of makes me want to. I'm getting fired up here at the end of the show. Let's go. Let's go. Football's less than 24 hours away, boys. Hey, that's something I need to do as well. Gosh, man. I might have to come back and do another live, but so obviously Armageddon's tomorrow. Kansas State, Iowa State, I think that's going to be an awesome game too. I like Kansas State in that game, guys. I'm curious to know how y'all feel. I know a lot of us like Rocco because he's a West Virginia kid by kind of like, by connection to his dad. I know some of us had even hoped that he would come to Morgantown at one point. I do think that would have happened if his dad got the job, right? But at the end of the day, he wouldn't fit in Rich Rod's offense. He's not mobile enough, I don't think. He's mobile, but not mobile enough. Now, Avery Johnson, different story. But, I think Avery Johnson could be the best quarterback in the league. I really do believe that. I think Avery Johnson's a very scary talent. He's a 4.3 guy. Like, everything about that kid is so fascinating. And they said he's really developed as a passer. So I'll say K-State wins and beats Iowa State, but it's not going to be easy. On a neutral site game, I got to give it to Coach Kleiman, who has won Big 12 championships, as where Matt Campbell has not done so yet. So that's my thoughts on that game. But, yeah, back to Morgantown for a minute. There's a couple guys I wanted to talk about, but we're already at the end of the show, and I really don't want to go another hour because I'm just getting this thing cut back down to where I'm not doing, a whole hour at a time anymore. But what I'll say is we'll go look at some Logan Ramper really quick, just to remind some people. Maybe there are some of you that haven't watched him yet, or at least on my show. You know, every time I watch him, I get absolutely just I'm in awe of him at times. Like I like to start like this. Whenever I start to put Logan Ramper over, whenever I start to really talk about him, this is him right there, RAM. But unfortunately, it's still got to 4.4 after 2 knee surgeries. That's from Jaheim White, right? He put this right here because he posted this online. We all took screenshots. Well, Logan Ramper right there behind it is Logan Ramper's time at 4.49. Logan Ramper is 6'3", and can really go. And I think he's got a chance to be as well a number one receiver for us. I believe that. I'm not just saying.
Say good night to the bad guy. Come on. The last time you're going to see a bad guy like this again.
So I was hoping there was some dialogue.
Unstoppable in white, wearing number 2.
So anyways, Logan Ramper is just an amazing player, in my opinion, that nobody's talking about preseason. And I'm one of the people that will. Everybody, and look, Jeff Weimer, by the way, got huge props today in practice, from what I understand. Or they said he looked really good. So Weimer, and we talked about him yesterday, that we didn't even bring him up just now. So that's what I'm talking about. Let me just start naming names really quick, because I'm telling you, this is the best receiving room. I'm going to say it preseason as one of my predictions. This is the best receiving room we've had in probably a decade, since Gary Jennings and David Stills. So close to a decade. This is the best receiving room we've had. Deepest by far. You've got Logan Ramper, who I think is going to be very good. I don't know how many attempts he's going to get early, but I know for sure he's a good player, in my opinion. Justin Smith-Brown also ran 4.4. That doesn't, like, the times don't mean everything, but it gives you an idea of their athleticism. And Justin Smith-Brown has a lot of big plays on tape as well. Then you've got Cam Vaughn, who obviously was the best receiver at Jack State last year. Big expectations for him this year. You've got Rodney Gallagher that's coming to his own, right? I mean, it's kind of starting to get ridiculous. Jeff Weimer, who was one of the best route runners I've watched on tape, and we watched him yesterday, and we were all in awe. Everybody that commented was like, holy crap, man, this kid can run routes. Like, it's not even a question. And then Man Singleton only caught 69 balls last year, where he was at for what, 700 yards or 800 yards or whatever it was at Eastern Michigan. Like, we're like literally, and then Gerard Bowie was one of the guys in camp that nobody wanted to talk. Like, that was a really hyped up dude from camp. I can think of 8 guys probably that I would consider to be starters at any point in Neil Brown's tenure before. Like, our wide receiver room is so deep and so talented, and I don't think people know yet because they don't know these names. I know these names. I've studied these guys every day. Logan Ramper is one of the guys, as you'll see here. I don't think that's supposed to be in slow-mo. There we go. Yeah, I'm a big Logan Ramper guy. I really have. I've said multiple times I believe in him. Look at that move. He's got size. He's physical. I haven't heard much from him. We've texted a couple times, but other than that, not a lot. There's a great double move by Ramper. I mean, that's a great move, I mean, and he runs 4.4, right? So it's like, look at this move up here. Let me get by you real quick. He reminds me of David Sills, man, in some ways, as far as him and Weimer both do. Obviously, he's more like David Sills probably than Weimer, because David Sills is more of a taller guy. Weimer is, well, no, they're about the same height, I guess. I don't know. Weimer is a better route runner than this guy, than Logan Ramper, I guess, but not by a metric ton. But they're both really good. I just think we got a lot of options, man. And like these guys, a lot of these guys are coming up from lower level, and I think we're going to show people like, holy cow, man, we can sling this thing around this year. I mean, there's only one football, so I mean, you can have a bunch of guys, but can you get them the ball? That's a good question, right? There's a spot where I think Ramper is going to be really good, right? Oh, what about this one here?
80 Logan Ramper.
This first play, I think, gives you an idea for his speed.
Somebody headphone down.
There he is right here running past our faces. If you watch him run through all the way through this play here, good speed, man. There he is right here. Now you see, watch him chew dirt up right here. Great job. That's what you want to see out of Logan Ramper, man. A deep guy. He's a deep ball guy. So I think we're going to be able to rotate in. I don't know if we're going to want to because the way Rich Rod runs offense, but I think we're going to be able to rotate in maybe 7 or 8 guys. Honestly, I think we're going to play a lot of receivers, and I think we have a lot more than people realize. Let's go back to the roster really quick, then we'll jump off of here. Because the receiver room is a room that, like I was saying earlier, like let's just look at it. I mean, and I'm being totally objective. I personally believe Warren Singleton is a destructive force of nature. And we heard Logan Bradley, the slot receiver guy, say it's the best slot room I've ever seen and ever had, right? That's what he said. Rich Rodriguez said it's the best slot room he's seen. So, like, you guys hearing them say these words? Like, it's incredible. Like, you're talking about Ron Singleton's in that room, right? And it gets pretty crazy, man. Like, Rodney Gallagher's in that room. Armoni Weaver's in that room. So, that's a great room. But then you've got guys, and we haven't got to Cyrus Trawl, who I think has a big future. Jordan McCants has a big future as a slot. Tyshawn Dews is a freshman. Preston Fox is Preston Fox. We know he can produce. We didn't bring him up yet. But I think Armoni Weaver is probably the best freshman, ready to go right now. We've heard a lot about him in practice. Rodney Gallagher has turned himself into a man, and I think he's going to make himself known early in the year. You guys know how I feel about Logan Ramper. You can't teach 4'4", and you can't teach 6'2", 6'3". Christian Hamilton, I think, has got a future. I don't know if he's ready yet, but I do think he's going to play. Justin Smith-Brown, we talked about him. He's another one of those 4'4" guys, right? And he can really go downfield. He can really go deep. And, man, is he a good player. And there's some people that think he could be a sneaky pick to be our number 1 receiver. Like, there are people out there that think he's that good. Gerald Williams has been here for years, and some people say he had a great spring. Like, I can't say anything bad about any of these guys. I mean, obviously, Gerald Williams, you would think he would have produced by now, but he hasn't, right? So, I mean, maybe it's now, but if it's not now, then probably never. Then Gerard Bowie, we know, had an incredible spring. As a matter of fact, he was talked about a lot. And he's a guy that you look at as like, man, he knows this offense. He could be coming into his own. The only thing that changed for him was the scenery, baby. The offense is the same. Then you get Jaden Bray. Now you get into the cream of the crop. Like, now you got Jaden Bray, who is going to be a man-child at 6'2", 210 pounds over on one side, and has the ability to be an elite player. I mean, didn't mean to do that. Look at what he did. If you look at his bio at Oklahoma State, not even just two years ago, at Oklahoma State, he played in 10 games, and he had 382 yards on 30 receptions. Like, that is a pretty solid year for when you're a sophomore. So he was supposed to take a jump last year, but he only played in 5 games, right? So it's unfortunate that he didn't get to play last year, but don't count him out. This is a dude that can come into Morgantown and make a real statement this year as possibly a number 1 receiver for West Virginia. You go from him to just an immense talent in Cam Vaughn, who most people would say is not only one of them, he's also 6'2", by the way. Like, we got 4 or 5 guys that are 6'2" or bigger. Like, this is a big receiving room, guys. This is a guy that played high school quarterback, redshirted 1 year, and then broke out last year as a redshirt freshman for Jack State. 450, basically 50 catches for 800 yards and 5 touchdowns. And he's only got better, and it's his 3rd year in the offense. Imagine that for him. You move from there to Oron Singleton, and you're thinking, oh, well, here's the guy. Finally, we're going to come on somebody that sucks. Nope. How about a guy that had 64 catches for 639 yards and 2 touchdowns last year? And oh, by the way, he returns kicks, he returns punts, he does a lot of different things. Yeah, he's a freak too. So you start to add it up, and you start to think, wait a second, we haven't even got not Cyrus Trawl, but we don't even have Jeff Weimer on here, who is an absolute freak show when it comes to running routes. It's not even a stretch to say, like, I haven't seen many dudes that can run the routes that Jeffrey Weimer can run. And I'm excited to see him in a Mountaineers uniform. The more I watch him, the more I think, man, we're lucky to get him back. So Weimer is a big-time player for sure. No doubt about it, man. So we've watched some stuff on him the last couple weeks, but I think it begs to say again, like, let's just check it out again really quick before we get off here. Since I've pumped up Weimer so much, let's check him out before we jump off here, and just a couple routes that he runs, because he is an elite, and I mean elite, and you can judge me all you want when I say it. He's one of the best route runners I've watched on tape. So,
keep up sometimes when all
he can really, really play. I'll even let you hear what this guy says about it.
all these guys are committing. So make sure if you do. Anyways, but so now we're in these clips. Check out the separation, the route running here. Pretty impressive stuff. Let's take a look here. I mean, this first one, check out the separation here. And this is at UNLV, I believe. Yes.
It is at UNLV. I can't play it because of the music, but, look at the separation he gets here. The footwork against the Division I cornerback, it's ridiculous. And then the acceleration to pull away blows you away, right? That's the start. There it is from the reverse angle. Then you start to see him here. I mean, just 2 or 3 moves he puts on this cat. There's one to get off the line, boom, to get outside. That's at UNLV. How only take you to school. Then this here is the creme de la creme. You want to talk about elite footwork and elite separation, and I mean elite at both. This kid right here, if we can get him back along with those other ones that we just got done mentioning, I'm just telling you, our wide receiver room will be as good as it's been in a decade plus. Look at that move. Let's see what this guy said about it.
I mean, look at that, dude. Look at this. Takes it up, cuts back. I mean, look at the footwork. This kid is very impressive, very talented as a route runner.
Very talented as a route runner. I agree. That's an elite move, brother. You ain't nobody that can guard that one-on-one. You got to know. You have to know where he was going, but there's no guarding up a move like that. I mean, can you imagine having a guy like this to throw to? And we're talking about on top of Cam Vaughn and on top of Man Singleton, who, by the way, they said were their best slot guys they've had. That's Rich Rod and Logan Bradley both said that in a press conference not even a week ago. And now you're telling me we're going to get this guy back? I'd written him off months ago because he hasn't even been on the roster. So we're talking about a potential number one. He might be the actual number one receiver. Like, this kid is extremely special. And what he did in UNLV in just 5 games or something like that. I think he had 30 catches in 5 games there or something. But he runs 4.5, and he's got plenty of separation and speed to just make people look stupid. So yeah, I'm a big Weimer guy too, and you start to look up and down the roster at the receiving room, and you start to think it's way better than people realize. It's just my opinion. Now, do we have the quarterbacks to get the ball to him is a great question. I think so. I think at the end of the day, if it comes down to this is a passing offense and we can't run the ball, which should be interesting, I do think Max Brown might be the best choice if his decision-making is right. That's the only thing we don't know about with him. Because Max Brown has got the most arm talent of anybody on the roster, possibly. Some people say Scotty Fox is right there, but I don't know. They're all good throwers. Like, they could all throw it around, but Max Brown, if you ever get a chance to watch him, if I keep doing this, I'll end up showing you everybody. But Max Brown can really, really sling it around. I mean, he started at Florida for a reason. The last guy we had start at Florida that came here did pretty good. So he's another one. Just keep an eye on, y'all. Thanks for letting me be passionate. Thanks for letting me I know, Eric, I'm not saying take the over on it. I think we're going to have a bunch of really good individual players. But you see how many guys I just mentioned, right? They're all playing their first season here at West Virginia. So it's unfortunate because if this was year 2 with these guys, you'd have me banging the drum 10-win season. I do think that we're going to be much better halfway through the year. But, I don't know. I mean, part of me wonders because Rich Rod, it took him 3 games to get acclimated with 50 guys last year at Jack State. 3 games. They lost 3 games in a row. Then they turned it around and won 8 straight to win the Conference USA Championship game last year. Can he do that? You got 2 games, right? You got 2 games to get acclimated at least a little with Robert Morris, and then to an even further extent with Ohio, and then definitely Pitt. But you better be acclimated by Pitt. But even if you're not, for Big 12 play, you can win those. You can maybe even if you by God, I hope we don't. But even if you do go 2-1, maybe you figure it out after Pitt once you get that first taste of Power 4 competition, and you go on the road and you absolutely just destroy Kansas as they open up that stadium for Big 12 play. So, yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of routes this season could go. I've been saying it the whole time. Like, if I try to take my emotions out of it, it's hard for me to, because I've studied every player on this team tape more than anybody. I bet you more than anybody outside of the coaches. And I'm probably right there with some of the coaches. They probably have access to tape that I don't have too, but they got practice tape as well. But and I would literally pay for that. I would pay for that good money, because I'd rather watch that than anything. Movies, games. Give me some tape from practice. I would spend all day and night on it and be really happy. But at the end of the day, my acumen isn't where theirs is, and I'm not as smart as they are about football. So obviously that's a big separator. But as far as knowing who I think is good and who I think is not on this team, and I was pretty accurate with what Neil Brown's teams were. Like, I wasn't a big, I can name some guys. I don't want to really throw anybody under the bus, but like the only guys I was really ever all over, like TJ Jackson was one of them, obviously. There was like limitations, big ones to a lot of the guys that you saw that I personally didn't. Garnet Hoss was a guy I missed on, but I still wonder about that because he just didn't even look the same at West Virginia. Anyways, you're not going to be right about everybody, and you're going from Northwestern to West Virginia, totally different defense, totally different scenery, totally different coaching staff, no accountability for what I'm told by the players from those squads as far as by Rich Rod standards. So things fell apart, didn't they? All right, guys, let's jump off of here. I'm way past, as usual. Can't stop talking. But I love the Mountaineers. I guess you can't doubt that. Thank you guys for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen and for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network where we talk about your team, the Mountaineers, every single day. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Won't be able to go live on X for a while. And I think, like I told you, I'm moving away from there for multiple reasons. I've been asked to do that as a company because, long story short, it doesn't help me on YouTube to post on X, and YouTube is how I get paid, right? So Those views don't count on YouTube, even though if I'm like, to me mentally, if I'm talking to 1,000 people, it's a lot more exciting than if I'm talking to 71 right now, right? So, but what I've trained my audience to just watch me on there. And what I'm trying to do is move everybody back over to YouTube because, there was, in the past, like when Rich Rod got hired, I think I had 3,000 or 4,000 people at once on YouTube and 2,000 or 3,000 on X. Like whenever he goes, that was like I was having 7,000 or 8,000 people at a time in here for those days. But as the season gets ramped up, I think I can get everybody moved back over, hopefully. So, all right, guys, I'll see you guys on the next one tomorrow. We'll talk about something for sure, depending on what. I'm going to be bringing people on for season previews as well from Locked On. So we got some things to talk about, but college football starts tomorrow, and I couldn't be happier, and I know you can't be either. We'll talk about it all tomorrow. Until the next one, though, I'm out of here.